Have you noticed how fast things can change in geopolitics? Just 6 months ago, India and the US were best buddies, shoulder to shoulder in the White House Rose Garden. Prime Minister Modi and President Trump were all smiles, talking about ramping up trade to $500 billion. Now, the bromance is dead. Trump slapped India with 2 rounds of tariffs, 25% for trade barriers, and another 25% for buying Russian oil. That's a 50% tax wall, dropped like a hammer. Meanwhile, Modi ghosted Washington, ignoring 4 direct calls. On the streets of India, protesters paraded a 20-foot Trump effigy with some not-so-friendly signs. And just when the US thought India would fall in line, Modi did something wild. He announced a visit to China, his first in 7 years. It's a diplomatic flip worthy of Bollywood. So what really happened? At first glance, it's about oil. India's imports of Russian crude skyrocketed from under 1% to nearly 42%. That's about 1.8 million barrels a day. They buy it cheap, sell it high to Europe, and pocket billions. Not a bad hustle. But the US wasn't having it. Trump accused India of war profiteering. Of course, the irony writes itself. The EU is still buying billions in Russian gas. The US itself sources a chunk of enriched uranium from Moscow. But when India does it, suddenly it's betrayal. That's how power works. Might makes right. And rules bend for the strong. China can defy Washington because it's essential, Apple's biggest market, Tesla's lifeline, the top buyer of US soybeans. But India? It's replaceable. The US can shift textile and pharma supply chains to Vietnam or Bangladesh without blinking. Then came another blow, the India-Pakistan air skirmish in May. India claimed it shot down 6 Pakistani jets. True or not, what mattered was perception. Washington realized India isn't ready to counterbalance China in the region, and just like that, the US cozied up to Pakistan instead. But the real deal-breaker? Agriculture. The US wants India to open its farm markets to American corn, soybeans, and dairy. But with hundreds of millions of Indian farmers, many of them voters, Modi knows doing that is political suicide. Add religious sensitivities. India worships cows, American dairy cows eat meat-based feed, and it's a recipe for electoral disaster. After 5 rounds of talks, both sides walked away empty-handed. So Modi looked east. Playing the China card was a way to regain leverage, but also to chase India's dream of becoming a developed country by 2047, a world guru, as some put it. But let's be real. The gap between India's ambition and its reality is massive. China has preserved a continuous written civilization for 5,000 years. India's history is rich but fragmented. Harappan scripts lost, 22 official languages dividing narratives, and caste still choking upward mobility. While China has raced ahead with high-speed rail, 5G, and quantum satellites, India is still struggling to make in India work. Foreign investment in May hit record lows. Even its booming pharmaceutical sector depends heavily on Chinese raw materials. Meanwhile, India tries to play both sides, joining America's Quad alliance while also sitting in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization with Russia and China. It buys US Apache helicopters and Russian S-400 missiles. Strategic balance? Maybe. But more often, it looks like indecision. And nobody trusts a fence-sitter. Truth is, China's not rushing to embrace Modi either. They've seen this movie before. India talks partnership when it's desperate, then slams the door when things stabilize. So here's the heart of it. India's crisis isn't about China or the US. It's about India. You can't become a global power by playing both ends. You need real capacity. Economic, technological, political. No amount of clever hedging can substitute for actual muscle. In a world that's rapidly polarizing, refusing to pick a side often means you get crushed in the middle. Strong trees weather the storm. Grasses, no matter which way they bend, get trampled. So, what do you think? Can India carve out a genuine path to global leadership, or is it doomed to remain a pawn in someone else's grand strategy?